Okay, so once you are done doing the transfer, you can open the flash drive to verify it's all in there, and then you want to go back. So since I do not need the DVD anymore, I'm just going to eject my drive here. Okay, so I don't have to take it out, I'll just leave it that way for now. Okay, so now at this point your flash drive is ready. The next thing you want to do is to go and change the BIOS settings. So what the BIOS setting is a place of instruction that tells your PC where to boot from at startup. So meaning that if you change that setting, it's going to go straight into the flash drive first to load the operating system you have just put in there. And since an installation file, it's going to load a set of instructions and to guide you, ask you for some information and all that to do what you need to do. So what we're going to do next is to restart and boot into the BIOS settings. So depending on your system, it can be quite different. Okay, in most systems, it's either delete, F12, F2, F10, depending on your system. So what you could do is you could look up your system via Google to figure out which of the keys allows you to gain access to your BIOS settings. But for mine, it's F2 right here. So all of these function keys, mine is F2. So I'm just going to keep tapping F2 as it boots up. I have some sort of security feature here. So pressing F2 has brought me down here. Okay, so here we are at the BIOS. A few things you need to take note of. One of them is the set of instructions down here on how to navigate the BIOS. The mouse doesn't work here, so what we're going to be making use of are the arrow keys to move left, right, up and down, and a few other keys. Now these instructions varies based on your system. So what we're really interested in right now is the boot, because normally your system when booting would go straight to the hard drive to begin to boot. All right, now what I want to do, or what we want to do, is to tell the system to look into the flash drive for boot instructions and boot from there. So what we're going to do is to go to the boot menu here. Okay, so with the arrow key, move right, and here we are at the boot menu. So what we're interested in is what we can see there, the boot priority order. Now mine has been altered a little bit, so I'm just going to complete it from here. Now this is the USB FTD flash drive, this is my CD-ROM, this is my hard drive, and this is USB HDD. Now depending on your system, these things can be a little confusing. You cannot be entirely sure what the system is labeling the flash drive as. It could be labeling it as this USB HDD based on how we formatted it, and it could be this as well. So just to be sure, what we can do is to bring this USB HDD up here after the USB FDD. So should it check the FDD and it's not that, obviously the next thing is the USB HDD, because there's nothing else plugged to the PC right now. So all we're going to do is, according to the instruction down here, we use F5 and F6 to change values. So F5 to take something down the list, and I believe F6 to take it up. So here we are, number 5 is what we want to alter. So I just press F6 on my keyboard here. Okay, and then here we are. So everything looks good, and then we can save changes. Okay, so first I'm going to save changes without exiting, because there's one more thing I want to bring to your attention. And the next thing, what I want to bring to your attention is the information. Now, you're going to need to take note of these specific things: your serial number, your product name, and okay, I think just those two, because these two things are going to be really important when downloading your drivers after installing Windows. We talked about what drivers were. Without the drivers, your system, your laptop will not function properly. Some things will be out of place. The display, some things might not work properly or might not work at all. So take note of that. Mine is ASA E1-531, and then the serial number. So you might want to take paper and a pen and put those down, because it'll be very needful after Windows installation. Okay, so having checked that out, we can now exit. So what I'm going to do is exit saving changes and see here. Okay, BIOS security here. So system is going to reboot, and then based on the instructions we've given it from the BIOS, it's going to load the operating system from flash drive, and then we get to continue on. Okay, now here we are at the OS. It has loaded, and then first thing you get to answer is talking about your English, your language, sorry, and your keyboard settings. So you might not be entirely sure of what it is. Time and currency format: Togo, Ghana, world. Leave it at United States or leave it at world, and you can always come back to change it. Okay, let's just leave it at United States. Now for your keyboard input, you might not be too sure, so just leave it at US. Okay, and then next. So after that, next thing is to install Windows. Now I want to point out something here. Assuming what you wanted to do was an operating system repair instead of a fresh installation. Now, instead of coming to click install here, what you go for is repair your computer. So what that would do is to repair your Windows without tampering with your files already saved there, although it's very important, again, for you to ensure that you do backup of your most important files and documents before you begin. Okay, so let's go ahead and click install now and get to the next menu. Disclaimer and license agreement and all that stuff. So just click accept and next. So right now what we want to do, or what we're working with, is custom install. The first one is to upgrade. So meaning if you're using a lower version of Windows, maybe from Windows 7 to, or you want to go to Windows 10, or from Windows 8, or from Windows 8.1, you want to go to Windows 10, or from a lower version of Windows 10 to maybe a newer version of Windows 10, a newer release, then you click the upgrade. So what that would do is to upgrade your PC while keeping your files and your settings and your programs and your software that you've installed intact. Okay, now the next is custom install, which is install Windows only. Now this will do a completely fresh install of Windows, which is what we want to do. We're not upgrading, we're doing a fresh install. So we just go ahead and select that, click on that. and then we can see our hard drive here. This is a new hard drive. Okay, so it's a 320 gig. This is a new hard drive, so you wouldn't see anything else here. If it was a previously used hard drive, especially one that has been used to install an operating system, you would find several other partitions here. Partitions mean several other instances of the same hard drive. The hard drive could have been split into several parts that the system requires, some for recovery, some for cache and all that. So here our hard drive is selected, so we just click next and Windows has begun to install. Okay, so it's going to copy the files. That's going to go from, okay, next, getting files ready. So that's going to go from 0 all the way to 100. So let's be patient as we wait. Now, one thing I want to point out here is if you do not have a good enough battery on your laptop and you do not have a backup power such as UPS that would be able to take or last through the entire process, don't start this. Okay, if you are not in a place where you have steady power supply, talking about PHCN or NEPA, whatever the case may be, you want to ensure that you have a standby generator that's going to be working all through the process of installation. It's not something that should get interrupted by anything. So for those of us using desktops or who might want to have this installed on a desktop, you know that you have to ensure you have power supply all through the period of the installation process. For those of us using laptops, make sure your battery is good, and if it's not, make sure you have an alternate source of power that's reliable and good enough to last you all through the installation process. So here we are at 97% and 100. It's done, and we just wait and let it do all it needs to do. Also, know that in course of the installation process, your computer will reboot as many times as it needs to. Part of the process. And now at this point, when it's booting up, it's not going to boot from the flash drive anymore. It's now going to boot directly from the system's hard drive because the operating system is already in there, partially installed. So it's going to just finish up right now. Getting devices ready. Keep in mind that however long the system takes to have Windows completely installed, don't be alarmed. Don't try to alter it by pressing the power button to turn off or whatsoever. Just leave it and let it do its thing. It's working at the background, so it doesn't matter how long it stays in one place.
Hi there, I'm Cortana, and I'm here to help. A little sign in here, a touch of Wi-Fi there, and we'll have your PC ready for all you plan to do. Use your voice or the keyboard along the way, and if you'd like me to stay quiet, just select the little microphone icon towards the bottom of your screen. If you need an assistive screen reader, press the Windows, Control, and Enter keys at the same time to turn on narrator. Okay, enough intro. Let's dig in.
Okay, so there's your Windows intro.
Your region is set to the United States. Is that right?
No.
Which region do you want to use?
Nigeria.
I've got that right?
Yes.
Your keyboard is set to BIOS. Want to stick with that?
Yes.
Do you also type with another keyboard layout?
No.
Now let's get you connected to a network.
So at this point, we're just going to select I do not have internet, and let's just proceed.
Just so you know, connecting to a network now could save you some time later. If you want to get that out of the way, choose yes.
No.
Type what you want to name your account.
Okay, so at this point, you get to choose your screen or display name. So let's just go with what we have here. So we'll just say class, since we're in a class. Okay, so and we go ahead and click next.
Okay, now type a password for your account.
Now you can put a password, but if you do not want to use a password just yet, you can always just next it and put the password later. Okay.
Windows can save your spot in apps, files, and websites, so you can keep doing what you were doing even when you switch devices. Just choose yes to sync your activities.
Okay, for now, we'll just say no.
These are the settings Microsoft recommends. Go ahead and review them and select accept when you're ready.
Okay. Online speech recognition on location and all that and all that and all that. So we just say accept. Okay, here we are at our home screen for Windows 10. Okay, so essentially this is how it looks, and we are done. Now from this point on, the next thing you want to do is check for your drivers that they are properly installed. So meaning you're going to have to go to your computer's manufacturer's website and download the appropriate drivers. Now just to show you that a couple of drivers are missing, there are a couple of ways you can actually check once you're done installing and booting into Windows. One of them is Windows button to open up this, and what you normally refer to as my computer on Windows 7 is called this PC here in Windows 10. So we'll just search for that. So here, there we have it, this PC. So what we want to do is right click and go to manage. Okay, give it a few seconds to open. Since it's new and fresh, it's going to have to look through everything and give you what you need. Okay, all right, so here we are, and at this point we click on device manager here. So now here we are, and you can see that a couple of things are missing. So these are missing drivers as well. On the display part, you can see what that is: Microsoft Basic Display Adapter. That's not the display drivers for this PC. It's supposed to be an Intel display driver, which is supposed to be written there. So meaning this is just a basic driver that Windows has installed just to be able to show you what's on the screen as well. Also the audio, okay, a little bit of that is there but not entirely. So this is the reason why you need to install the drivers. The processor, okay, it's there, but I'm sure this is not the most recent one, so we'll just check all that as well. So things like your camera, okay, and other things. So why is necessary for you to install your drivers is simple. Your system would not be at maximum performance without it. For something like display driver, if you're maybe a graphics person, you work with Photoshop or Illustrator or you do videos, your softwares won't be able to work as it should without the graphics driver, because the graphics or the display driver is what helps handle anything that has to do with visuals. Okay, so if you're a gamer, it won't work. Your game would not even install, because for your game to install or for any graphics intensive software to install, first thing it will check for is your display driver. And when that is not intact, it would not install. And if you're able to make it install, it will not work after installation. So next, we're going to look into how to get across to your manufacturer's website, put in the required information, and download your drivers as appropriate, and then install. Okay, so see you in the next video.